Hello ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another Batman 66 episode review. Today we'll be reviewing another Riddler eccentric episode called The Ring of Wax. So let's get into it. Our episode begins with with Madame Soleil opening up a wax museum and is about to unveil her latest addition to her collection, the wax figure of Batman. And as she pull the curtains away to reveal the statue, everyone's in shock when instead of Batman, it is the Riddler. There is a recording device beneath the Riddler statue, and essentially everyone gets covered in this sort of spray show, I guess you would say. And the riddles are, what is black, white, and red all over? And what has branches and leaves but no bark. When Commissioner Gordon gets word of this, that the Riddler's back, he immediately calls up Batman and Robin. Then we go to the usual opening credits. We then cut back at Police HQ with Commissioner Gordon, Chief O'Hara, and Batman and Robin are all there, and they've managed to deduce the answers to the riddle. What's black, white, and red all over? Well, that's a newspaper. And what has branches and leaves but no bark? That's a library. But they also realized that what's black, white, and red all over could easily be a book as well. They realized that the Riddler is going to steal a book from a library, and they realize it must be the Gotham Library, the biggest one in the city. They race there. We then cut to the scene with the Riddler at his hideout which essentially is a wax factory. We then find out that the Riddler has essentially turns out the Riddler has essentially smuggled in this universal wax solvent that was in the Batman statue, and he's going to use this to essentially help him find the lost treasure of the Incas. I like this scene because not only has it revealed the villain's plan, but also just how, in my opinion, crazy and over the top, crazy and charismatic the Riddler is. It's almost like this guy has finally lost it, and essentially nothing's going to stop him. We then cut to the library scene where the Riddler and his boys break into the library by using the universal wax solvent. You see, what they've done is they put it around like the safe's lock, and then he uses the candle to essentially which slowly burns the wax, and therefore it burns through the lock that is locking the safe. And the Riddler just going full jumping up and down like a Looney Tunes character, for me, is an absolutely great sight to see. The Riddler orders one of the members of his crew, Moth, to go outside and at the reception and just look out for Batman. Robin for their appearance. The Riddler and the rest of his gang break into the safe and get their hands on a rare old book. Just as this is happening, Batman and Robin have made their way to the library, and they make their way to the safe. Realizing it's open, they go in, and they come face to face with the Riddler and his crew, and a bat fight breaks out. The Riddler and his boys end up victorious when the Riddler sprays some kind of spray at Batman and Robin's feet, which results in them being stuck and unable to move. Riddler calls it his Dr. Riddler's super instant invisible wax emotion. And the funny thing is, he throws the spray and it hits the fire alarm and it goes off. I find that to be a little bit funny and a little bit ironic, and almost comes out of nowhere. And of course they realize they have to make their escape. They then create a huge fog and quickly make their escape, but the Riddler leaves behind a riddle before he leaves. The more you take away, the larger it grows. Then, when the smoke clears and Batman and Robin have finally got out of that trap, they find out where the hell Riddler's gone, and they find a clue courtesy of a hole in the wall, which they realize is the answer to the riddle. The answer is a hole. The more you take away, the larger it grows. And they find some kind of wax substance. They go back to the Batcave, analyze it, and realize that it must be Soleil's wax museum. So they make their way there, where they are then ambushed and knocked out by the Riddler and his crew. They are then taken to the Riddler's wax factory, where they are tied up and are slowly being lowered into this vat of chemicals. The Riddler then reveals he stole the rare old book to find the lost treasure of the Incas. And the reason why he's using this universal wax solvent is because so that way when he could break into the safe without raising suspicion, because if you use TNT it makes noise. So it's a bit of, I must admit, it's a bit smart. And I also like just how more and more manic the Riddler is going towards as Batman and Robin are lowering towards their doom. And that's the cliffhanger. That's where we end the episode. Not really much here. The cast really here just remains the same, if I could be honest. Nothing really huge. I mean, Commissioner Gordon, Chief Howard calling him Batman nearly every time a supervillain has a rise. But to be fair, half the supervillains that we are told are people that Batman and Robin have already gone up against. And plus, the Riddler is a unique case, so I don't really blame them for calling them in. Batman and Robin here are the usual, same with Aunt Harriet and Alfred. They're just the same. But of course, like always, what is always a standout about these Riddler episodes are the Riddler. Frank Gorshin here is absolutely great in the role. I also got to admit, he is absolutely, I think this is the first, I mean, he was great in his first ever appearance and then his return, but in these episodes and the second one to come, he is fully lost it. Like, he's completely off the rails. And the little thing is how he's getting frustrated with one of his crew, Mothie, because of it's clear that she has a thing for Batman and sees him, you know, as handsome, and this is really getting on his nerves. And this will be especially shown in the second part. And just for me, he just looks the role. No one could have, for me, when you look at it, I don't think anyone could have played this role better back in '66. The Ring of Wax for me is just an okay episode. It's a standard Riddler episode, but that's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing wrong with Batman and Robin facing your favorite villain in an episode. Well, there's really nothing really groundbreaking. For me, this really is, for me, a really just fun, entertaining episode. And although I do find the plot not fully wrapping my head around the Riddler's, you know, caper, I will admit, I feel that this is the one time where the Riddler is like almost completely off his rocker, like nothing's keeping him sane. And I like how he's just leaving like when they're about to escape Batman, he doesn't hesitate to leave behind a riddle. For me, that just shows a bit of his character, and we're going to find a little bit more about his riddle gimmick in the next part. For me, this is just a fun episode. While it's nothing groundbreaking, to be fair, it's just a standard Batman vs. Riddler episode, which I've said, nothing wrong, and it's a fun episode. And there we have it, The Ring of Wax, a really fun Riddler episode. While nothing hugely groundbreaking for the character, at least at this part of the two-parter, for me, what's always great about this episode is Frank Gorshin's performance as the Riddler. And for me, just they have a little funny gags here and there, but for me, I feel that this is arguably the episode where Riddler has fully gone off the rails. Join us next time as we review the next Batman episode, Give Him the Axe. So until then, this has been the Steven Hour, and tune in next time for the same Steven time, same Steven channel, and so long for now.